So hello everybody and welcome to Shoesting Shed, and this is the story of Rosie the Rover, bought from a friend of mine who the car actually belonged to his mother, who sadly passed away, and it was left there just idling doing nothing, and so I had the opportunity to buy it, which I did with just 86,000 miles on it, and they were only something like the third owner. So it's a good straight car. Unfortunately her eyesight was failing, and there's a few scrapes on the corners where she's hit the garage, etc., but otherwise she's pretty straight. I did notice a sound like Thor's hammer under the bonnet a couple of weeks after having it, and it turned out we thought it was an idler pulley. It was actually the crank pulley, which is now called something like a harmonic resonance balancer, because these pulleys, you'll see in a second, are actually like this. They're great big hefty things, but they're actually in more than one piece, and the pieces are joined by a section of thick rubber. They're bonded together. Now over the years these go bad and they can fail, they can split completely, but usually they'll give some warning sign beforehand, and it's usually a diesely rattle. It just makes the engine but as you can clearly hear, the two halves are separated, so there was nothing for it but to change it. And this actually took my friend with a 5-foot breaker bar and the correct locking tool, which is available from eBay for about £30. And once that nut was cracked, it actually just come straight off, and I got a new one, a TUV approved new one from eBay for, I think it was under £50. And I've always said if it's got the TUV mark on it, it's as good as gold. Now you can see on here it was already starting to separate. There shouldn't really be a gap between the sections, but you can clearly see the rust line there, so it'd been gone for a while, and it was only through use that I started using the car again that it actually failed. But as you can see, it's quite a large pulley. The front section is for the alternator belt and the rear is for the aircon. And what happens is when it starts degrading like that, whenever you put the aircon on or switch it off or anything like that, you get a slightly uneven load on the pulley, and eventually, I mean this is through age more than anything, it does that, the rubber splits, and in worst case scenarios the outside of the pulley can actually spin independently from the middle. Now bear in mind that this is doing your power steering pump and your water pump, and so obviously the car's going to overheat, you're going to lose your power steering, but you will hear it well before. But it was easy enough to replace. The hardest part was actually doing the auxiliary belts afterwards, because to get to the tensioner on this car there's very little clearance, and it's, if I remember rightly, it's a 24mm nut, and it goes in there, but there's very little clearance, and you need a spanner which protrudes slightly like a ring spanner. MG Rover do a tool, but it's about £80, and all it is a very long handled spanner. So it took two of us to actually get the auxiliary belts back on again. But as you can see, it's all done now and it's good as gold, and hopefully it'll be good for at least another 80,000 miles or 2-year guarantee, which is plenty. If we have to do this every couple of years, don't really mind, because you know I'd pretty much be changing auxiliary belts then anyway. So I hope this has been of some use to you. If you get this knocking noise under the bonnet, 9 times out of 10 on these and on a modern car, it's the crank pulley. So thanks for watching guys, see you again soon.